Hey, what's up, guys? This is just quickly touching on an unsolved mystery which is currently unfolding right now. So I've got this in a smaller window just to point out real quick that this is today's news, February 14th, 2018. And also, this is the website of WCAX, which is just a local news station in the Adirondack Mountains of upstate New York, which is where this gentleman went missing a week ago. Now, he did turn up safe and sound 6 days after he vanished from the ski resort. But his reappearance has made this a global news sensation because he turned up in Sacramento, California, the absolute opposite edge of the country and the continent. And he was disoriented and confused as to how he had gotten there and unclear about what had just transpired during the previous 6 days of his life. Strangest of all, he is said to have turned up in California wearing the same ski gear and clothes that he had been wearing when he disappeared 6 days before that at the ski resort. And that's despite leaving behind most of his belongings and his car at the ski resort. He just happened to turn up wearing the same ski gear. So, it's a story straight out of a science fiction novel or movie, except that it's real life. So I'm going to show about a minute of news footage because a lot of the amazement is just that this really happened and that these are real news interviews about this. So check it out.
49-year-old Constantinos Danny Filippidis was part of a group of Toronto firefighters making their annual ski trip until he disappeared. And now 6 days later and across the country,
he actually ended up here in Sacramento, in downtown Sacramento specifically.
According to the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department, Filippidis called 911 from the Sac airport. Officers say he appeared dazed and confused and determined there was a medical issue.
He related to the officers that he had been skiing in New York, believed he had hit his head or had been hit in the head.
But he told authorities he didn't fly here.
He said that he was dropped off by a truck driver, said he slept a lot during the trip here and did not have a huge recollection as to how he got from A to B.
Deputies say Filippidis was still wearing the same ski clothes he wore when he was reported missing, but he had no obvious signs of trauma.
He was adamant that he was not the victim of any crime.
All right. My first response is, how can the guy be adamant that he was not the victim of any crime if he can't remember the last 6 days that he's adamant there was not a crime? That just doesn't make sense. And it really makes me wonder why he would insist that there had been no crime, since he clearly does not remember that time period. So why insist anything about that time period? Just bizarre. And how unreal is this entire news segment, especially when it cuts from the middle of winter in upstate New York over to the guy sweating in his suit in Sacramento, California, with a warm, hazy sunset, it looks like. Does this not seem like the setup of a science fiction movie? And so finally it wraps up with the Adirondacks news station anchor talking with their reporter, who first thing looks down at her phone right now. So it just helps this all seem very unreal, and she is standing out in the cold, very bundled up to try to stay warm in the harsh winter of the Adirondack Mountains in upstate New York. The whole thing just couldn't be more unreal. Also, on that same news station's website is a video of a small press conference that was given today by New York State Police. And this looks like one of the most awkward and uncomfortable interviews I've ever seen in my life. It's humorously so. Just look at their faces when they're talking. He is about to introduce two other gentlemen next to him, and just look at how uncomfortable they look. Look at how confused and uncomfortable he looks. These are the police that are trying to reassure the public right now. God, does this not resemble a movie? So they're standing here looking uncomfortable, and They go over all the basic facts of the case that we've pretty much covered already, but mainly I wanted to show you how uncomfortable these policemen look discussing this case that just does not add up and that they just do not understand. Okay, finally, here's just a glance at today's news from thedailymail.com, which is from the UK, and we've got this full photo of him, which was taken shortly after he found himself in Sacramento, not knowing why or how he got there. And I believe this photo really shows the confusion in his face and how disoriented he is. So the article mentions a few really great details about this case. He reappeared almost 3,000 miles away from the place he went missing. He was wearing the same ski gear. He had a new iPhone and a new haircut. And all he remembered is being a passenger in a big truck. And down here it says that he rode in a he's quoted as saying that he rode in a big style truck and slept a lot. That's his vague memory of the previous 6 days of his life. So very mysterious. And there are several similarities with the famous case of Travis Walton, who also went missing for almost a week back in 1975, after which he reappeared with his memory missing of those previous 5 days. So he eventually underwent regression therapy and apparently uncovered buried memories of alien abduction and spending those 5 days aboard their ship. So that raises the question of whether we'll see any sort of similar regression therapy taking place in this current case. We certainly wish him the best, and we look forward to learning any new information as it comes out.